Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life, where I show my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. Yes, it seems I really do lose my mind over Indian guys. So if you followed this channel for a very long time, since 2015, you will probably know that I believe in past lives. I believe I've been here before, and I believe I have a soulmate from a past life who I'm trying to find in this one who's Indian. And after a difficult relationship breakup with an Indian guy this year who was not compatible with me, not to do with the sexual aspect, but multiple other aspects. I didn't have sex with him, but we were very kissing compatible. And anyway, yeah, so I've been off the online dating scene. I'm still technically on like Badoo, but I'm not active on there anymore. So I'm not currently going out of my way like on online dating sites or in online dating groups to do dating. Anyway, uh there's an Indian guy that works in a local store that is not far from my home that I went into earlier today, and his eyes lit up when he saw me and he said hi and I said hi, and then we had a little chat because I'd had a chat with him before about Bollywood dance, Bollywood parties and stuff like that. I found out before he was a uni student, and he was asking me how things are going, and I said about my back being injured, and he was really empathetic about that. And then I moved on to saying my landlord's selling where I live, so I have to find a new home. And I said that the area that I'm thinking about moving to, which I've applied for a flat in, is next to student accommodation. There's student accommodation behind it as well. And I asked him if he's heard of the street in the area because I know he's a student next to uni. He said, I am a student at the uni, but I haven't heard of that street before. But he had heard of one lot of student accommodation near that. But he said, oh, I might have some friends. Some of my friends might know. So I could ask some of my friends and let you know. And I said, that'd be great because I just want to know and make sure the area is safe. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll let you know. So I just said, like, bye then. And that was it. So I got home, had lunch after I bought some waters in the shop, and then thought, well, he hasn't got my phone number. So how can he actually let me know? He can't. So then I had my lunch and I was umming thinking, should I go back to the store or not? And obviously he is an attractive guy to me because he's clean shaven, he's Indian, he's really friendly and really nice. And I was getting nervous thinking, should I go back to the store or not? Because isn't it going to look really weird, like saying about my phone number and that? But I thought, but how else is he going to get in touch with you to help you once he's spoken to her friends? He's not going to be able to do it. So I was getting really nervous and anxious, thinking, well, he'll have your phone number then, Sandra. And I'm thinking, well, you like him romantically anyway, or aesthetically. But he doesn't know that, only a little bit. But you know what I mean? I just get like that, don't I, with Indian guys? And so I was like thinking, like, shall I do it or not? Because I was really anxious and nervous about it. And I'm thinking, all it is him helping you out. It doesn't mean anything, So if you do go back and give him your number, that's what it means. He's just maybe going to help you out, and that's it. But because I do have some attraction for him, which obviously he doesn't know, and because I'm attracted to Indian guys, and because I was thinking he'll have my phone number then, and you know what I mean, my mind just goes off on one because I'm a hyper romantic who experiences zero platonic attraction. So my mind was going off, and I was thinking, should I give him my card with my number on and the details of the street and what property I've applied for? Or should I not? And I was just like, I'm in an ahhing all the time, thinking, oh, I'm really anxiety induced about it. I don't know what to do. I'm like, he seems like a nice guy, Sandra. He was the one who his eyes lit up when you like went near him, and he seemed like he was eager just to say hi to you and ask how it's going to have a little chat. I'm sure he's fine. Do you know what I mean? So I was like really thinking, should I go or should I not go? I sort of thought, well, I can give him one of my business cards, then he'll see that I'm asexual anyway, because I'll have it on there. So I decided I'll eat my food and then I'll go back to the shop that he works in. And I did this. I ate all my food up, and I can't believe what happened next, right? I shut my laptop down. I my phone was still switched off from having my self-date at the cinema this morning. I left my phone behind in the flat, right, which I don't usually ever do. Left my phone behind in the flat, or hardly ever do, with it switched off still from the cinema on my self-date. I took 3 bags out with me for food shopping, and I had my handbag with money on me, luckily. I went out of my flat, out of the house, and then I realized I locked myself out of my home. It's the first time in the whole history I've been in this flat that I've ever locked myself out of my home. I rang all the doorbells to my housemate and all of them were out. And I don't know when they were going to get back because I think one worked shifts. The other person, I don't know where they are. I think at weekends they do other things. And the other person was away last week. So I didn't know if they're away again. But I couldn't wait around to just see whether they turn up or not to let me in the front door or not. And I didn't know for definite where my keys was. I am assuming I left them in the front door of my flat, but I closed the door to the whole house so I couldn't get back in it. And so I was thinking, oh my God, now what you were going to do? Luckily, my mum and dad have got a spare set of keys, but it meant going over to Dawlish. And luckily, this was in the day because had it been at night, I couldn't have gone. I couldn't phone my mum and dad up to say, hey, I'm going to come over because I've left my keys in the flat because I didn't have my phone on me. It was literally off in my bag still from the cinema this morning. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe this. So I'm like, what are you going to do now? Are you going to go into that shop and give the Indian guy your phone number with your business card so he can actually let you know what his friends said about the area, if any of his friends live in that area that you're thinking about moving to? Are you going to have the guts to do it, or are you just going to not do it? I thought, well, you basically locked yourself out of your home for this guy because you were so busy thinking about this guy. Because obviously I do have some attraction to him, but you obviously was thinking about this guy so much that you literally locked yourself out of your home for him. He doesn't know this. I didn't tell him. And I'm like, are you just going to let it go now? Are you just going to not bother even going to the store because you're too scared? What's the worst that can happen? He tells you to F off, or he just screws your business card up and puts it in the bin or whatever. Or he just looks at you like you're a weirdo. So anyway, I decided to go back to the shop. So I went back to the shop and I thought he might be on lunch. And if he's on lunch, I won't be able to see him anyway. So I went round the store, and then part way through the store near the back, he came out, and I think he'd just come back from lunch. I didn't ask him. I didn't have time. I said, oh, I forgot to give you my number. And he goes, yeah, I was just thinking about that. You forgot to give me your number. So I gave him my card. He started taking a photograph of the card and then says, oh, what's your name and number? I said, it's on the back of the card. You can just keep it. So he had another customer that wanted some help after me. Anyway, I did buy a bottle of water, and I was looking for Polly Pockets there as well because I really need some. But Wilco, I think, tends to have them as well. So I said I'll go there. But he's really friendly, so I'll probably get back to you Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So I hope he does. But I do have some attraction to him. I'm not gonna lie. And it was just like, but obviously I haven't told him this. And obviously, like, I'm not acting fully like that. Well, obviously, I'm being friendly, but I mean, I know Indian guys are friendly, so I just think he's going to be doing me a favor, hopefully, because probably some of his friends do live around there. But of course, because my mind is focused on the feeling of hyper romanticism a bit towards him, well, probably a lot towards him, and aesthetic attraction a bit, maybe a lot. But because I was focusing on that, I literally left my keys in the front door of my flat. I had to go to my parents, so when I'd been to give him my card, I didn't tell him I'd locked myself out. I then decided to go on the train. I only had to wait like 6 minutes. So everything was flowing. Even though things didn't go according to plan, like I thought they would, everything just flowed naturally. Like, I locked myself out, which I didn't expect. And then I just went to the store. And the moment like I saw him, I said, I forgot to give you my number. And he said exactly the same thing. He goes, oh, I was just thinking that. You forgot to give me your number. So clearly he was thinking about helping me still. And then when I went to this train station, all I had to wait was 6 minutes. That was it, to go to my parents. And I went round my parents, where my parents live in Dawlish. I went round there for a bit. I didn't have my phone with me, so I couldn't take any shorts videos or anything like that. But I went and got some health bars, and they were like cheaper there than they are in my city of Exeter. So that was a great, because I needed them anyway. And so that was a bonus. And I also saw the black swans in Dawlish with their little cygnets, which are like fluffy grey cygnets that are super cute. So I got to see all that. I went to see the sea a little bit as well, not for very long, just a few minutes, like looking out. And then I went to my parents, who were shocked to see me. They really seemed to really like seeing me. And I said I locked myself out. I said, you'll never guess why I locked myself out. Just guess, what do I like? What do I like, mum? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you like? She's like, oh, you like Indian guys? I said, yeah. I basically locked myself out for an Indian guy because I was too busy thinking about going back in a shop, giving this Indian guy my number. This is to see like if he can help me with finding out if the area's nice from his friends. And I'm like, "Oh my god, my just mind just I lose my mind when I think of Indian guys. I just completely like, like I don't know, it's just like I completely lose my mind. It's like being a teenager or something and like, doughy eyes or something. I'm like, he's just a guy, Sandra. He's just hopefully gonna help you out. That's it. There's nothing to it. He's just being friendly and nice, like a lot of Indian guys are friendly and nice and welcoming. That's it. But you know what I mean? My mind goes like crazy, like, oh, but he's got your number and maybe he'll like you more than just a customer and helping someone out, and maybe he'll want to see you, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Because this is how a person who experiences some romantic attraction, especially hyper romantic, this is how it goes off in my head. And I'm like, I can't believe I literally lost my mind, as in didn't even think to take my keys out the door of my flat. When my parents brought me back home tonight, literally my keys were in my flat door. And it's the first time I've ever done it. Like in this flat over an Indian guy as well. I'm like, you literally use your mind. So I still, in my heart of hearts, in my soul, believe I'm meant to be with an Indian guy. I'm not talking about this guy. I'm just talking about an Indian guy sometime in the future, the right Indian guy. I'm thinking there's got to be an ace actual. Obviously, I don't think this guy's asexual. I think there's going to be an Indian asexual guy in the future, or a guy who can live without sex, that will be liking my personality and want the same type of thing as me and want the type of relationship that I want. I even though I love being single, I do really value a relationship. I do value a relationship a lot, but I haven't found the right guy for a relationship yet. But I still feel the most comfortable around Indian guys. I still feel the most natural around Indian guys. I still feel drawn to Indian guys. If anyone says like a meetup, they talk about relationships or dating, I just say I like Indian guys. I mean, because it's true. It's like my default. And I try to like other guys, and it's not that I don't get attracted to any other guys. It's just that I always kind of default back to Indian guys because it's just my most attraction. I just feel the most natural around them and most naturally comfortable around them, if you know what I mean. So it's just really tough, and I'm like, "I can't believe you did that, Sandra. I can't believe you basically lost your mind." Literally, like, where was my mind when it was leaving my flat? Where was it? I just don't know where it was. But it was clearly thinking about this guy in Poundland loads, if I'm honest, and it was like, you're thinking about a guy, he's just a guy, Sandra, being friendly, helping you out. There's nothing more to it. And then, when you're very romantic, if people don't know what romantic things happen, because I know quite a lot of asexuals are aromantics. If you want to know what happens with romance, you kind of like think stuff like, oh, he smiled at me. Did he smile because he liked me a bit more than a customer? Or did he just smile to be friendly and thought, oh, she's brightening up my day because I'm having a really boring day opening these cardboard boxes? Did he look up and like eyes light up because he's like, oh, it's just a nice, friendly girl. Nice to see a friendly face because his job's boring the rest of the time. Or did he do it because he's like, oh, she seems really nice. Oh, she's like nice, nice, not just like acquaintance nice. Do you know what I mean? Your mind as a romantic asexual goes through all these things. Like, oh, he stopped to talk to me. He stopped his work to talk to me. He must really like me. I'm like, no, Sandra. He's being good at his job. He's building a rapport with a customer. Nice to see a friendly face. That's it. So your mind tries to go to logic, and your other part of your mind goes towards the fluttery feelings in your heart or whatever, a little bit of a romantic and aesthetic attraction, thinking, oh, he's really good looking. He's got a nice smile. He's a really nice guy. I'm like, you don't even know the guy. He works in a customer facing role. So of course he's going to be good at his customer service. Otherwise be crap at the job. So, I try to think logically, but then like part of my brain's like thinking, romantically and aesthetically attraction a bit, not full on, a bit. And then the other one's part of the brain's thinking logically, thinking, and just think about the actual things that have happened. One is you're a customer. Two, he's being friendly. Three, he's just having a chat because he probably gets bored in his job and it's nice to speak to a friendly face. Four, he's probably a guy who likes to help people or be helpful. So he's just being helpful and helping out. Do you know what I mean? Like, but because I'm a hyper romantic and because the way my romantic brain thinks, it automatically shoots off to all these other possibilities. I'm like, he's just here for studies, Andrew. He's not your guy. Just be happy that he even said that he would help you. Do you know what I mean? But it's very interesting if you're analyzing a romantic brain, especially a hyper romantic brain like mine, just how crazy it gets. I mean, how crazy does it get that you lose your mind so much you can't even remember to lock your own flat and take your keys with you? I mean, that is serious, like mesmerized by Indian guys. Do you know what I mean? It's serious stuff. It's like I'm so mesmerized by it, by an Indian guy. It's like I can't even think straight. But my eyes always light up when I talk about Indian guys. I so like Indian guys. I cannot help it. I honestly think I've been with an Indian guy before a past life. I'm not talking about this guy. I'm just talking about an Indian guy at some point. I don't know. I might have been with loads of different Indian guys in past life because they seem very blooming familiar. It's like I've been part of a family of Indians before or something. It's very familiar, even though I'm very different to their culture in this life. It's very, very, I don't know how to describe it. It's so familiar to me. It's so familiar. Until this year, I never even had an Indian boyfriend. Obviously, I'm not with the guy anymore this year, but I've never had an Indian boyfriend in my life till this year. So I've never actually sampled it, tasted it, or whatever you want to call it. I've never tried it. I've never known what it actually feels like to be in a relationship with an Indian guy. And every Indian guy's going to be different anyway. But I just find it fascinating that I'm just so into Indian guys. I can't help it. It's like I just feel most comfortable around Indian guys, most attracted to them. But I have to hold myself back because I'm like, Sandra, most Indian guys, whatever Indian guy you come across, the majority of them want arranged marriage. They want things that you don't want. But I just think there's got to be some guy in the world. There's got to be one guy in the world who's like asexual Indian guy, who's publicly out about being asexual, who doesn't necessarily need marriage because he's unconventional, and who publicly likes an older girl and he doesn't give a toss what people think of him. You know what I mean? There's got to be that guy out there. I don't believe he doesn't exist. Because just like I'm nothing like my own culture, British culture, there's got to be an Indian guy that's not like his own culture, that likes to go his own way, that is probably grey asexual or something like that. And it's like, and it's probably trying to find an older girl thinking, oh my God, so many older women like younger guys for sex. But he doesn't like that because I like younger guys, but not for sex. And most older women like younger guys for sex and vice versa. But there's got to be at least one Indian guy in the world, hopefully in the UK, who's like not like that, who's actually liking an older girl, but he doesn't want sex with her, and he's kind of going crazy, pulling his hair out, thinking, "Oh my God, where is the girl that I want? That's an older girl because I get on better with older than younger or people my age, and where is she? Because I'm really frustrated because I want a romantic relationship and I can't find her." And it's like I'm here, so I do believe what you seek is seeking you somewhere in the world. I believe there's an Indian guy out there who is seeking someone like me, but trying to find him is like trying to find a needle in a friggin' haystack. Do you know what I mean? One day he might come across me, but there must be an Indian guy out there like that because there are lots of younger guys that do like older women. A lot of heterosexual guys. There's got to be the equivalent of that in an asexual guy, surely. I don't believe there's not. I believe there's someone for everyone who wants it. You know what I mean? And so I think there must be an Indian asexual guy in the UK who doesn't really care what his parents think, who likes an older girl, and who really wants an unconventional relationship, that brings a bit of asexual spice into his life. You know what I mean? I haven't obviously met that guy yet, but I clearly still believe I'm meant to be with an Indian guy. I can't help it. I just feel that that's what I'm supposed to be with. But I haven't found the right guy for me yet, and I do go out and I do find other guys attractive. I can even find some British guys attractive occasionally, but not that many, not that often, right? But it's still not the same. I still think I'm meant to be with an Indian guy, and clearly, but my mind just goes completely woo woo over them. Like, I think about an Indian guy and I can't even think straight. But you can tell by my look at the smile on my face when I'm talking about Indian guys. Look at the way my eyes light up, my body language. It's completely different. I'm talking about a British guy. I'm talking about a British guy like this, right? If I'm talking about an Indian guy, look at my face. It's complete contrast. I was telling you in a live stream the other day that it's really important to look at your body language with anything you're doing in your life, with any choices you're making in your career or finances or any aspect of your life, friendships, relationships, particularly like when you want to find your life purpose, go and do the mirror test. The mirror test is you speak out loud to the mirror what you think you're interested in, what you're passionate about, right? And if you talk like this in front of the mirror and your face is quite down, that's not really your passion. If you talk like this, enthusiastic, hello, Lee, nice to see you. If you talk enthusiastically and your eyes like that, then you know that that is where your heart really lies. There's no point in me lying, saying I don't like Indian guys when I do, and I find that them the most attractive, but I literally lose my mind. It's like with Indian guys, I've got a completely different rule to whatever other guys come along. It's like they've got a rule of their own, or I've got a rule of my own for them, unconscious rule for them. It's like everything goes out the window. So, but this is just a guy in a shop who's hopefully going to help me out a bit, just with where I might move to. That's it. But of course, my brain doesn't really think like that. My heart doesn't totally think like that. Aesthetic and romantically, I don't completely think like that, even though I'm trying to logically out because I've got to do that. I've changed and I am changing my patterns of behavior where dating's concerned because I'm in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, who's the number one. Matthew Hussey is the world's number one dating and confidence coach. He's like got 17 years experience. So I'm in his Love Life Club and he's like, oh, we all have patterns of behavior. And if we keep attracting the wrong guys for us, we have to like then notice our pattern of behavior and stop ourselves from doing that. And not with this Indian guy's got nothing to do with this particular point I'm making, because this Indian guy, I've only seen him twice in a shop. It's got nothing to do with this comment, right? There's another guy who I've seen at a meetup, right? And I know I have some attraction for him, even though he isn't Indian, right? I know he has some attraction for me. I can just tell, but I know he's not the right guy for me. I know he's absolutely, if in terms of relationship stuff, he would be completely the wrong guy for me. Completely the wrong guy for me. So my pattern of behavior in the past would be probably to get more involved or more attached to someone who I know has red flags for me in the beginning. And I would kind of like ignore them, not want to believe them, if you know what I mean. But now I'm trying to lean back and think, okay, how long have you known this guy? You've met him a few times, like, okay, and then and actually break down and analyze all the different behaviors that actually gave me red flags. But I didn't think about them so much at the time being red flags, because sometimes you don't, when you're in the moment talking to someone, because you're saying so much back and forth, you don't always think about something until you go home. And I realized the other day that this particular person had said something to me and it was a dig at me, but I didn't, like when someone says something in a jokey manner, but really they don't mean it jokey, and having a dig at someone isn't funny. And I didn't really pay attention to it at the time. And then all of a sudden I'm like, that guy had a dig at me. Right? So he's not being honest, because one minute he seemed to be digging me as in, oh, I really like you, you're amazing. Then the next minute he's saying something that's putting me down in a jokey manner. That's not someone who is actually being honest. If someone thinks you're that awesome, they wouldn't dig at you about the thing that they're, one of the things they're saying you're awesome about. They wouldn't do that. So there's been like a number of red flags I've seen with that guy. And I don't think I know him well enough to completely assess all of him, but I think this is not an Indian guy. This is a different guy. I've moved on to talking about a different guy now at meetup, but usually in the past I wouldn't have recognized red flags so quickly. I notice now I'm recognizing red flags really quickly. So it's really good for me, because I usually get attached or have romantic or aesthetic attraction for someone. It blinds me to the reality of what they're really like. So if you're in a situation where you're doing dating relationships, some of the things I've learned is literally to monitor your own patterns of behavior. Like when you're talking to someone, I want you to pay attention to what they're saying and what their actions are. I want you to pay attention to what they're saying and what else they're saying. Like I said, they contradicted. One minute they're saying, "Oh, you're fantastic, love your personality, really loud, bubbly." And then there was a dig about me being, because they said, because I said I'm loud, bubbly, which is clear, and they're going, "Oh, it's great to be loud, it's wonderful you can be yourself and be loud here," and stuff like that. And then in another conversation of the week, they'll have a dig at me about me being noisy, basically, me being loud. And so that contradicts what that person originally said. So that means it can't be true. They don't really think that way. So that then leads to deception, and then that leads to being dishonest, which means they're not being totally true with me. They're saying things to grab my attention, to praise me, to build me up, to make me think they really like me and they're on my side, but then they're having this dig at me, which puts me down and takes me down again. This is red flag behavior. So I've begun to notice a lot of red flags, like when this person denies stuff as well, denies things, doesn't take accountability and responsibility for things, laughs behind people's backs, says jokey things which really aren't funny. They're quite discriminatory some ways. So it's hard because of this particular person, which I can't name, got nothing to do with an Indian guy. I've moved on from that. The Indian guy that I've talked about earlier is a really nice person in a shop. Nice as far as I know him, right? That's all I can say. But this guy, I know it's red flags, and so it's very good for me to notice early on now, because I'm learning to trust my own judgment more and to actually call red flags out in my brain for what I see. I'm not going around saying to him, "You're red flagging me. This, and this is red flags." I mean, there's so many red flags. And so I'm not saying this to him. And I get on really well with the guy as well. I mean, conversation is flowing with him. I get on so well with him. But I know I have a pattern of attracting the wrong guys, and guys that are no good for me, guys that can be narcissistic. And so I'm very aware. I'm like, what is your pattern of behavior? And like, hang on a minute. I want you to assess, like, if you feel if I feel any attraction to a guy whatsoever, and it's and I think he reciprocates, I'm then assessing the situation of going, this feels familiar. But often when we feel familiar, we usually think it's like a soulmate connection. It's meant to be. But actually, I found out that it's familiar. If you've been in like narcissistic abusive relationships, it's familiar because you're used to that pattern of behavior and it's comfortable, even though it shouldn't be. It should be gross. But if that's all you're used to in lots of different relationships, then your subconscious just finds comfort in that because it's easy, it's flowing because you're used to it. So I'm learning to discern from what is actually happening to what I really want. And even if I have attraction, like, I have to say, okay, I have attraction for this guy. What is going on? How long have you known this guy? What do you know about him? How has he presented himself to you? What has he done to mean he's still credible? Has he been consistent? Has he followed through in what he says? Or is he doing the opposite? And is he doing contradictory stuff? And I just found so many red flags with the guy that I do know I have some attraction with, not Indian. And I know he has some attraction for me, but he's very sexual as well, so I know he's completely the wrong guy for me. But I do get on so well with him. It's very easy to talk to him, very easy to have flowing conversations with him, which I don't usually get with many people. But I just have to know that he's the wrong person for me. So when we get into relationships that are no good for us, it's often that we don't see, or we either don't see the red flags early on, or our subconscious chooses to ignore the red flags, or we choose to basically suppress the red flags, or not believe them, or not want to face up to them. We want to go into the fantasy and of like what might be, and this person might not really be like that. I'm like, yes, Sandra, the reality is they're really like this. So I'm trying to, with my hyper-romanticism particularly, I'm trying to create distance between me in my mind, me and the person I'm attracted to. I'm trying to create distance, thinking, okay, I want you to think logically. Stop thinking about hyper romanticism. Oh, I'm feeling a bit romantic, or I'm feeling a bit aesthetic attraction now. I'm getting really on really well with this person. They're flirting a bit with me. I'm flirting a bit. You can flirt if you're asexual just by some asexual stuff you say, right? Or not, as the case might be, but you know what I mean. I just know, even, and sometimes flirtation stuff comes out even if I'm not intending to go around flirting with this person. It just comes out in the moment because I know I have some underlying attraction with this person, but I know they are likely probably going to be the wrong person for me because I've got patterns in me, wired in me over the years of being attracted to the wrong guys. So I have to say, this seems very familiar, this is flowing, but it's probably because it's the wrong thing, not because it's the right thing. And in this case, it's because it is the wrong thing. And I have to pull myself back and think, don't get attached to this person because they're no good for you. I've told them I like Indian guys anyway. But you know what I mean? I could feel a closeness with them. And I'm like, just don't get involved. Like, you know, like I have to take a step back now because, do you know what I mean? Like, I thought this person I do get on well with might be okay to hang around with sometimes. But, and I did the other day, and I went to another meetup with them, but I'm like, they're just no good for you. They're just not got the same qualities as you, not got the same values, and not the same morals, and not the same ethics. You know, they're just the opposite to you. Obviously, opposites attract a lot, but I'm like, they just don't have like you. I like Lee. You should come on one of my Bollywood shoots. That'd be hilarious. You have Bollywood shoots, Lee? Do you? Oh, do you have Indian guys there as well? Oh my god, I'd be in heaven. It'd be hilarious at Bollywood shoots. I'd want to be in the movie myself. I think I look gorgeous in a Bollywood dress, I have to say. I keep looking at the dresses thing. I'm sure that should be in a Bollywood movie. I'd be really good in a Bollywood dress. Do you know what I mean? I have to get my back before I can do full Bollywood dancing though. But oh, I really want to come and see one of them now. You're tempting me. You're tempting me. I still got to like move home, and I haven't secured a place yet. So but yeah, I saw a Bollywood theatre performance, a different one in London, but it looks like it's out in the sticks of London as well. Because I thought, oh, if I get a new place, I can reward myself by going to a trip to London to go to another theatre performance. But it looks like it's going to be really hard to get to there and back in the day. Plus, if I do move home, it's going to be a lot more money than this place, so I'll probably have to save my money and won't be able to go out as much. But yeah, but if you are in a stage of dating and relationships, anyone who's watching, I really encourage you to take a step back from anyone you feel really attracted to and who you flow with, because obviously it could be naturally a good thing, but a lot of the time it's because we're familiar with things that aren't good for us. And so we really have to assess this, you know. And I have, like, in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, he's got Matthew AI, which is a 24-hour love coach, which is really helpful. So Matthew has got someone to make an AI version of himself that really talks to you with his voice. It's incredible. And he's put all of his knowledge from his courses and his retreats and all his dating and relationship advice over the years into this bot, basically. And it's really good. So you can go and ask him anything you want. And I was asking about this particular guy at this meetup, not Indian guy, who I am a bit attracted to, and I know he's a bit attracted to me. And I was asking and going through all the things that I think's red flags, and it was basically, yes, they are red flags. And even the bot said, "Oh, that's a dig at you." I'm like, "Yeah, I thought it was." Even the bot's like, "That person was digging at you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I thought it was a dig." You know what I mean? So I need to get confirmation, because at the moment, because I'm trying to learn how to date more healthily, for me, I'm like trying to discern, is someone good for me, is someone healthy for me. I'm doing that with dating and relationships now, like, because obviously, like, I'm not active on dating sites, but I'm meeting more people in real life. So because I'm meeting more people in real life, I have to have some level of discernment. So instead of just being, oh, I've got these feelings and emotions, I really like this person for some reason, I'm now saying, okay, why do you like have these feelings, and do you know this person? Are you putting them on a pedestal? Because a lot of us tend to put people on pedestals when we're attracted to them. Has this person earned your trust? Has this person proved they're even trustworthy up to this point? Is this person contradicting themselves? Does this person do things you don't like? Does this person have values that you don't like? Does this person do things that contradict your values, ethics, morals, value, beliefs? Is the answer is yes. You don't go for them, do you? You just take a step back and think, okay, this isn't the right person for me. You need to do a U-turn away from this person. Whereas in the past, you would usually go towards this person more. You decide no. And when you're making progress and you're healing more in your dating journey, when you're actually able to discern more quickly when someone isn't right for you. Doesn't mean to say you can't get hurt again, doesn't mean to say you can't get into a relationship that's the wrong one, or that doesn't last, or that someone doesn't screw you over, because you'll attract the good as well as the bad people. You'll attract people who are morally good, you'll attract people who are morally corrupt. So if you're an attractive person, you're going to attract different types of people, but it just means you've got a much better chance of finding a healthier relationship with you, and a much better chance of being on a healing journey by learning to say no to things that aren't good for you, even if you're attracted to them and there's a pull towards them. It's like you've got to be very disciplined with yourself. It's like another form of discipline that you might not have been used to before. So that's what I've had to be in my mind with the guy that I've seen a meetup who's not Indian. I've had to think in my mind, this isn't the right guy for you. It's far from the right guy for you. He's not going to be able to be, the trustworthy guy you need. So I think this is really good. There was a situation where I had like something with person I knew who I thought was going to be a friend, but at the end of the day, they weren't right for me either. So I look for anything now that I think isn't right for me, and I'd rather spend time on my own and do other pursuits and meet other people than settling for someone who's just not going to meet my needs, basically, and who's just red flag behavior for me personally. It doesn't mean to say they're going to be red flag for everyone. It just means, obviously, if someone's not taking accountability or responsibility for their actions, that is a red flag for anyone. Someone who's praising you and the next minute they're like basically digging at you. That's a bit like gaslighting. It's a bit like they put you up. Well, when they blur your reality, when they deny things, that's gaslighting. So that happened a bit as well another time. But when they're bringing you, when they're saying that they really like something about you, then they're having a dig about that thing later on, which is the opposite. That's contradictory behavior. That's not good. It's a bit like in a relationship where the guy, any gender, where a person is wrong for you, it's like they bring you up to put you down, even though they might not intentionally do that. The fact is they're doing it. So if someone says, "Oh, I really like this about you. I really like this, and this, or this particular thing," then all of a sudden, another time you see them, they're actually digging at you. They're not being genuine. They're just saying, I think, either what they think you want to hear, or they're praising you in order to get in your good books because they fancy you. They're attracted to you, and they want you to think that they really like you, so you'll like them more. I've noticed as well that I tend to be attracted to guys who are praising me, who are saying nice things to me. But just because someone says nice things to me doesn't mean jack shit, excuse my language, because they could easily say another thing that just counteracts that. You know what I mean? That makes it untrue to them. So it's best not to go by what someone says, like, "Oh, you're great, blah blah blah." You can think, yes, that's nice, but unless they prove that they really believe that about you, they could literally be just putting you on a pedestal and saying things they think you want to hear to butter you up, because then you get attached to them more. And then when you're attached to them more and attracted to them more, you're more likely to be more swayed to spend more time with them, possibly get into a relationship with them. This is how it goes. So I think it's very important to be disciplined, to have discernment, to listen to what the person says, and if there's any contradictions, if there's any blurring of reality, if there's any denying something happened, if there's any blatant lying, as in I didn't actually say that, but they did. So look out for all these things, because it's important to get into healthy relationships. It's important to get healthy connections, and we don't want to be having someone who's unstable, unreliable, who's going to make you feel insecure, who can't match your needs, and who's like bring you up to put you down, even if it's not intentional. You want to be with someone, if you're going to get into a relationship or even friendship, where they make you feel stable and secure as much as possible. Their behavior is consistent and it's not up and down the whole time, because when it's up and down, it's really difficult. If someone's behavior is up and down and you have to deal with that, then you just have to think, I have to deal with the reality rather than what I wish it to be. So if someone's not, first of all, you talk to the person about their behavior and try and get them to see your point of view and see that the behavior isn't good, and hopefully they can correct the behavior. But if you keep going around saying it all the time and they're not paying attention, either you've got to leave that scenario, or you've just got to decide you minimize your time with them or spend less time with them. And then you've got to decide, well, you've got to deal with the reality. Maybe the behavior you don't like, but it isn't that bad, but it's just something that's not basically helping you. So if you have an anxious attachment style and someone's doing behaviors that make you anxious, is it because the behaviors themselves are anxious, or is it making you anxious, or is it just because you have anxious attachment? And then if you say a lot to the person about, this makes me feel anxious, or I don't feel comfortable or good with this, blah, 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 but they change the behavior and then they change it back again, either they don't really want to do that thing in the first place, which is probably most likely, or maybe they did want to do it, but they just can't consistently do it because it's not what they really want, or they're in their old pattern of behavior. So there's only so much you can do. You can't make someone change their behavior and change it permanently. So don't think about what you want to happen. Think about what is actually happening. Think about the reality. Deal with the reality rather than the fantasy of what you wish the situation and person would be. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Thank you, Lee, for being in chat tonight. And I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Don't get locked out of your flat like I did and lose my mind, which I literally did. And please stay ace. Don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, hit the bell icon. Grab a copy of Asexual Perspectives book and Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual on Amazon. I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Lots of love. Take care. See you soon. Bye. Stay ace.